Okay, we've been talking a lot about numbers. We really have. But today I want to talk about the thing that's most important and perhaps one of the best lessons I learned from my business mentor, Glenda, and that is pricing for profit. Now, profit is not a dirty word, even though some people will have you believe that. And perhaps it's the money mindset that you grew up with that, tells you that making money is not okay, especially in your own business. But I am here to kind of debunk that today and to talk about the importance of income and profit in your business and in your life as well. You probably listen to the podcast because you run your own business and you would like to know how to have a life as well. Well, one of the keys to being able to have a life along with a successful business is being okay with making money and being okay with being able to bring that money into your world and bring that money into your family and being able to actually be okay with making money from doing something that you love. And I say that like it's completely simple. And we are very lucky if we are running our own business doing something that we love. We are lucky to be able to do that every day. But that does not mean that, that's the payoff, that we get to do what we love every day and that we don't get to make money from it. We definitely do get to make money from it. So today we're going to be talking about pricing for profit, and we're going to be talking about the importance of bringing income into your business. So the fabulous Misty Lohan, who runs More Than Great Dancing in the States, once said on stage at a presentation that I was at, and it was like I was kind of hit with a bus, like a freight train just knocked me over when she said this. She said, without income, there is no impact. And when she first said that, it was like the permission that I was needing to make money in my business. I had been running my business, I think, for 4 or 5 years at that point. I had been I'd bought a new car, but I wasn't parking it out the front of the studio. I was parking it kind of down the road because I didn't want people to know that I'd bought a new car because, I didn't want the dance mums saying, my money bought that new car, or I didn't want that association. I didn't feel okay with making money, doing what I loved. I thought that I had to have one or the other. I had to have a job that I hated and make money, or I got to have a job that I loved and I had to be broke. I didn't think that the two could coexist. And please shout out. I would love you to screenshot this episode and hit me up on Instagram, tag me in your Insta story if this is something that you grew up with as well, because it was something that I think I grew up with, that was part of my upbringing, in that you worked really hard at a job that you perhaps didn't really love. You lived for the weekends, you worked during the week for the weekends. And that was because it wasn't role modeled for me, around me in a lot of ways, that you could have a job that you absolutely loved and make money as well. So when Misty Lohan said this, from stage, that you need income in order to have impact, I really kind of started to rethink everything in my business, because my business is centered around having impact. My business is centered around being able to impact the students that I teach in my classroom, being able to impact the dance community that I have built, bringing people together in order to share experience. I want to have impact in my local community, being a safe space for kids to be able to come where they can feel like themselves and they can be their very best version of themselves. They can make mistakes, they can fall down, they can pick themselves up, they can, learn all of those great life lessons, give themselves confidence, all of that. And so for me, I always thought that was very separate to income. But Misty saying that I need that income in order to have that impact was so true, and so resonated so strongly with me, because yes, in order to be able to give the kids extraordinary experiences and all of these incredible things that we talked about as part of the studio, give them performances, give them international tours, opportunities to have masterclasses with, master teachers, that we're flying into our regional area, things like that, need income. Duh, it seems so simple once she had said it and once I thought about it. And so for me, it was really a moment where I just completely gave myself permission to be able to make money in the business. Now, my business mentor had been telling me for years to be pricing for profit. And that was, when it came to the budgets that I was doing for each of the individual events I was doing in the business, but also when it came to my income overall. Was I pricing for profit, or was I just pricing to break even for each of the things that I was doing? And I can tell you, I was some of the classes I was running, I wasn't even breaking even. I was losing money to run the classes. I was paying for the classes to exist. And so it was a really big mindset shift for me in that if I could build a business that was able to bring in income, then I was going to be able to use that income to impact all of the communities of people, including my students, that I wanted to impact through the growing of the business. And that has been such a game changer. So that pricing for profit, when it came to my pricing structure, really meant that I had to look at what my expenses were doing and what my income was doing in my business. And if you haven't listened to my Financial Fridays episode, then please go back 2 episodes and sit yourself down on a Friday for 5 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour and go through your finances and see where your business is at. Because once I did this, I realized that so many of my classes were running at a loss. I wasn't, I was only just getting over the line at the end of each financial year in terms of breaking even. I was paying my staff, not paying myself, or paying myself a really small amount, and just, slogging, and it being really difficult and really hard all the time. And that was because my expenses were increasing and my income was staying the same. I was charging the same amount for my costume hire, charging the same amount for my classes, charging, giving away classes left, right, and center. And it just didn't give me the opportunity to bring income into the business in order for me to go and use that income to impact more lives. So what I did was, completely figure out, okay, over the last 5 years, what has been the increase in our expenses year on year, and what is out of the ordinary? We moved studios a few times, so there was, an increase in costs and things like that were, out of the ordinary expenses. But in terms of our staple fixed expenses, what was the increase? And we realized it was somewhere between, 4 and 7% each year that the expenses were going up, yet I wasn't doing anything about the cost of tuition. And so we made a pact at that point that every year we were going to increase our prices by 6%. And we say in our terms and conditions a minimum of 6%, because if something, if the world comes to an end, then we have the ability to be able to move on that. But we needed to move at a minimum of 6% every year. And I tell you what, the tears, the drama, the tears and the drama in my business mentor meetings with Glenda, where I would be crying and crying, and she would be trying to convince me that, yes, this was a decision that I could make, and that everybody wasn't going to hate me, and that, the whole school wasn't going to fold because we were increasing by 6%, and everybody was going to leave and go somewhere else and do soccer instead of dance, and the drama. And these were stories that I was telling myself. These were just made up stories that I was telling myself about the doom and gloom that would happen if I decided to put the business first and to actually generate some income in order to have impact in my community. And I can tell you, like, hand on heart, completely truthfully, we made these changes and I didn't hear from anybody. And yes, we may have lost some customers, but I didn't hear about it. It wasn't a big kerfuffle. They didn't put me on the front page of the newspaper and say, look at this person trying to swindle us all out of our cash, which, again, a story I was making up about myself. Everybody will hate me. That's my stuff, working on that stuff on my own. But what it ended up doing was just gave the business a bit of breathing room in order to be able to, pay for the things that were costing more money. The rent was going up, the electricity was going up. And I'm sure it's the same in your business. I'm sure from when you started till now, your expenses have not stayed the same. And so if you haven't increased your prices, we've talked about this before, but it's so incredibly important to be able to make sure that you are pricing for profit, that you have a buffer and you have the ability to be able to make money in your business. Not only because you work hard, but because you're worth it. All of that hard work has to go to pay for something. And it's really important that you know that the impact that you want to make in your community and amongst your customers and amongst your people, that can't happen without that income. So if you have a mind block, or if you have, a mindset shift that needs to happen when it comes to making money in your small business, you being able to do what you love, but also make money at it, I encourage you to delve into that, whether that is through your journaling, through talking to your therapist, through, going back, doing some money mindset training. I know Denise Duffield-Thomas is fabulous when it comes to money mindset. But you need to be able to know that it is okay to make money in your business. It is okay to be able to use that money to be able to grow your family and grow your lifestyle into what you want it to be. That is not a bad word. Pricing for profit is not a bad word. And we continue to increase our prices by 6% every year. And that is because some years our costs are going up more than 6%, but we've been able to keep it at 6% each year. And I think that has been a really good benchmark for our customers. They know that the change is coming. We don't, shout it from the rooftops. It's not the subject line for our newsletter. But when we are re-enrolling people for a new year, we tell them what the new price will be. And then when they re-enroll, that's the price that they agree to. So as I said, don't be afraid, as I was, to be able to take the plunge to put yourself and your business first. You are absolutely worth it. And please know that the overall picture and the overall message is that you cannot have the impact that you want with your small business if you don't have income to back you up. So know that income is there, and there is the ability for you to make it, and then for you to be able to have it to use in your business or in your family or in your life, however you want. But you have to make some big decisions in order for that to happen. You have to price for profit. And once you start doing that on the individual small products or events or services that you're selling, as well as, the big picture stuff as well, you'll see an absolute massive shift in your business. If all of this is making you queasy and you'd like to sit down and have a cheerleader in your corner to help you make this happen, then please click on Simply You and I when it comes to simplystacymorgan.com, and we can spend some time either on Zoom or sitting together down at a cafe somewhere nice if you're close by to me, and we can actually nut through all of your pricing structure to make sure that you know exactly where the money is in your business, where it's coming, where it's going, and then what you can do with it once you have it in order to have a really big impact with the business that you have and that you love. Oh, thank you so much for listening to me talk for 3 episodes now about money. Yes, you. Go you. You haven't skipped over just to the fluffy duffy episodes. Instead, you're talking about the real stuff, and I'm proud of you for listening. I would love you to share this episode if it resonated with you. I would love you to stick it on your Insta story and tag me. I'm at Simply Stacey Morgan. I will talk to you next week.